Hey guys, EBPMAN here. Now in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at our first mid-drive electric bike. We typically looked at electric bikes where the powertrain is connected to the back tire and you see this big hub. This one doesn't have such a thing. It actually looks like it's the closest thing to a normal looking bike. This is from Avadar and it's the C3-City. Let's go ahead and check it out. Now the power for this bike is a little bit different than the ones that we've looked at, which we've seen bikes that are 500, I think 750, and I think we've gone all the way up to 1,000 watts. This one is 250 watts, and you're probably asking yourself, wow, that's low power. Can this thing go? And because of the technology and the fact that the powertrain isn't in the back tire, but it's actually in the center of the bike in the pedal area where you pedal and where the normal power comes through, it does have great power. It also doesn't really distribute power the way we've seen with other bikes, where this is more of a powertrain where there's torque and pressure that actually kicks in the power. So as you're pedaling, right, the power comes in, right? As you're pushing harder, power comes in again. And notice the choice of words. Pedaling, which is going to be your torque, and then pressure actually is what, how hard you push on those pedals is going to determine how much power is coming through the system. So you actually see a significant difference when you use the 0 to 5 pedal assist. So this is going to be a little bit different. You're talking about 220 pounds max payload, fast charging in 4 hours, and supports people from 5.4 up to 6.4. You do have some decent speed in this. You also then have a 16-gear Shimano system, right? We haven't seen this before. It actually has 2 gears that's going to be giving you that, again, that's 16. And the reason why it's doing this is because it supports also going up steep hills, and you're able to go on a lighter gear that gives you that, I would say, easier pedal. And then you have some higher gears that are going to be a little bit harder that's going to give you more power depending on how you're riding. It does have a spring suspension fork that's adjustable, hydraulic brakes, and it has also puncture-resistant tires. So, very light. We're talking about 55 pounds, super light. And then it's also IPX rated, so you don't have to worry about it getting wet. So, let's go ahead and check out the bike. We'll see what the ride experience is, and we'll see why you might want to check this out as your next bike. Like we always do, we first cover tires and powertrain on the bikes that we review, but this is going to be a little bit different. A lot of stuff that's to like about this bike, and that really sets it apart. First of all, we take a look at the tires. You're taking a look at 27.5-inch tires. So this is going to be a larger tire than what we're traditionally looking at. The other thing that you'll also notice is that the back wheel, when we look at the cassette there for your Shimano system, it's very different. This is actually a 16 speed, right? When you take a look at the back here, a couple things are missing. First of all, the motor's not there. And this is because this is actually a little bit different. This is a mid-drive bike, which means that the motor is in there. And you're going to see that in a second. You'll also see that it actually has, in addition to the gears that you have here in the back, it's going to have 2 stages up in front as well, which make this really different. Now, this bike does have some cool features. It does have a rack right here in the back that you're going to be able to mount stuff. You can see that it has in the back also a marker so that people can actually see you. But the big story here is that this bike has a 360 watt battery that is encased in the column right there that you'll see in a second as well. And you're going to get a 60-mile range out of this, but it does not have a throttle. So this isn't going to be the type of bike that has 100% electric. This is going to be a human-electric combination. Now, this is where your powertrain is found. It's actually found in here, which is really small, and makes this bike a relatively lightweight bike because the actual power is coming from both what you provide here and what's going on inside of here. Now, power is going to be derived in 2 ways. One is going to be by your speed in which you're turning the crank as you're pedaling, but then also the force that you put on it also drives more power. You can also see right here that it has the 2 set of teeth. Here's one set and here's the other, and you'll notice that there's here a gear shifter as well. This is found on one side of the steering of your handlebar, and then for the back here it's the second gear system, which we'll show you in a second. Now, one of the things I love about these type of bikes is that it has worry-free, rust-proof plastic fenders that are going to be really good, especially when you're dealing with any kind of mud situation, dirt situation as you're riding this bike. So nothing to worry about here. It's plastic. It's going to last forever. The marker in the back, unfortunately, is not digital in any way. It's just a reflective marker, so it's not going to light up.
The saddle is very comfortable, doesn't have any suspension of really any type, but it's a standard saddle, very comfortable to ride, and then it has a tool-free adjustment. Now, what makes this bike also super cool is that it's super discreet, and if it wasn't for the cables that you'll see in a couple seconds, this looks like a normal bike. So inside of this column here, here's your key area, is the actual battery itself that pops out. You do have an area here where you can mount a bottled water holder if that's something that you would want to have, but it's a pretty straightforward bike. Now, in the back of the bike, you're going to find that you have both front and back disc systems, and the disc system with this bike is hydraulic. Over here, you have quick release, which I also love. So if you want to remove this really quickly, you just pull this out, it's going to come out. Kickstand is found on the back, and pretty much as we pan over to the front here, you'll notice how still clean the design is, really because of where the motor is. There's really not a lot to this bike, and I'll keep on highlighting. This looks like a normal bike. Some things that give it away is, for example, some of the, I would say, cabling that's taking place, even though this is really for your gears over here. But you can see over here on the very bottom, there's an area here which is your plug for your power. Now, in the front fork, you do have an adjustable fork. We talked about everything here is hydraulic, and here you have your adjustment so that you can adjust how much ride you'd like. Now, cable management on this bike is really clean. All the cables come in right here nicely. They tuck into the frame, and if they're not on the outside of the frame, they actually come in through here. They tuck away and they come out in another area. You can see the same thing right here. Very, very thoughtful cable management. Love it. In the front of the bike, you do have that front-facing LED, which is going to be bright enough to help you while you're riding. Now, the handlebar is a traditional, I would say, mountain bike style handlebar, so it's pretty wide, very spacious. It does have, again, your hydraulic brakes here. Grips are really nice, but you'll notice here that you have a gear system, right? This is to engage and disengage that gear that's right next to your pedal, right by that motor. So this is going to allow you to go into those very light gears because this will help you going up a mountain or up a hill or switching to your standard, so giving you that 16. Over here you have your power for your bike. I'd say it's not the fastest I would say display when it comes to actual turning things on, but it is very bright, it's easy to read. Now you'll notice that even in broad daylight as I was riding the bike, this was incredibly easy to read. You do have your different pedal assist modes that you can go in, and what this is going to do is just give you more power as you're providing your human power, and as you're putting more pressure, it's just going to give you more lift. Now on this side, you're going to have your standard Shimano shifting, 1 through 8. Again, combined with what you saw on the other side is going to give you that 16.
All right, guys, so today we're taking a look at the first mid-drive powered bike on the channel from Avadar. This is the C3-City. This is different, right? One of the things that I'll just highlight immediately with riding this bike is this is the closest thing that you'll find to a traditional bike, and when it comes into the electric area. And that's because the powertrain for traditional electric bikes are found in the back, right here, all the way in the back, that back wheel. So this has 27.5-inch tires, and you're not going to find a power hub in the back. The hub for this bike, or the power hub for the bike, is found where you would find power in a traditional bike. And that is in the pedal area where your cranks are. So if you think about where you see where my feet are pedaling, I'm going to raise my foot for a second. Right here, this is the actual motor. It's a smaller motor, but it is distributing the power much more naturally, super natural. But with that, and we're right now on pedal assist 1, right? And it says that I'm riding about 13 miles an hour. You can see that I'm not breathless at all, right? Well, this bike, one thing that it doesn't have, that other electric bikes have, is a throttle so that you can go 100% electric on its own. You heard that right. So if you like to pedal, this is the bike to pedal. Not only does it not have 100% electric throttle at all, right? It also has more gears than any bike we reviewed on the channel. This is a 16-gear bike. So it has actually 2 sets of gears. One that is super light, and the other one that is going to give you like a heavier, I would say, pedaling mode. So right now I switched to the second gear, and I'm telling you, this is effortless. It's a little bit too light for my liking, but this is going to be great if you're going up a hill and you don't want to really put in a lot of power. So the bike is going to contribute more power and you're going to be putting less. So I have on this side the gearing system or the shift that's going to adjust the chain from where I'm pedaling. So I can go ahead and switch that. And like right now, I went to the other gear, major gear, and the bike is now pedaling differently. You do have front shock, which is good. You do have a front shock that's adjustable. And then you also then have a great saddle. The saddle's super comfortable. Fenders that are going to prevent any kind of mud from being picked up, which I like as well. And it does have a traditional, I would say, mountain bike steering, like as you can see right here. All the controls are here for the Shimano standard, right? So you see all the gears right here that you would shift. And then over here is where you see the other controls that you'd be working with. Now, we're going to be testing the speed soon enough on this so you can get a sense, but right now, given my pedaling and what it's contributing, and I'm telling you, this is the most natural form of bike, electric, that I have experienced to date. 100% natural. All right, guys, so now, given that the way this works is a little bit more like a traditional bike, sometimes your start is a little bit harder than it would be with a traditional bike or electric bike. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn on pedal assist 2 to see how it feels. No sudden jolt, but boy, I can feel it helping. It feels good. All right, 16 miles an hour. Let's do pedal assist 3. No change, because what's happening with this bike is that it's doing two things. How much I'm pedaling and how much pressure I'm putting in is what's generating the power. So right now, check out the conversation I'm having, and I'm pedaling at 20 miles an hour. That's impressive. All right, guys, so we're gonna go ahead and switch things to pedal assist 5. And I'm gonna pedal. I wanna see how fast I can go. 20 miles, 22 miles, 24 miles, 25 miles, 26 miles, 26, 26.1. Woo! That took a little out of me though. 26 miles, but it was super natural. Brakes are responsive. We'll try them right here at this stop. Let's go ahead and come to a stop. We'll see how quickly it does. Oh yeah, that's nice. Pedaling and seeing how fast you can pick up. And I'm gonna try to go as slow as I possibly can. We're clocking at 3 miles, is what the display says. Very, very legible display. And I'm gonna try to, again, put this system to work. Remember, two things are gonna make this thing go faster. How fast I'm pedaling and how hard I'm pedaling. So we're right now 21 miles an hour, 22, 23, 24, 25, 25, 26.2, 26.4. Woo, I thought I hit 27 there for a second. But wow. You like to pedal, and this is the bike for you. Wow, that was nice.
So guys, that wraps up our review. See you in the next video.